Okay.
Can you try again, Kim?
Yeah, I'm here. So when I
Echoing.
speak, William should be on mute.
I'm on mute.
He's mute.
I'm mute.
Oh, is it echoing at your end?
Yeah.
Oh,
A little bit.
Okay, you turn off and then try Williams.
okay. Okay, William speak.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one is okay.
Yeah. There's no echo.
Maybe you need to swap space when you do the dedication.
Stop screen. It's okay.
Wait, you mute, dear. You mute. You know why?
Oh.
Yeah, because I've turned off my volume on my iPad, and William is I'm relying on his sound.
But he's mute.
Yeah, I know he's mute. So, but my sound is off. I don't get it. Like this technology is very confusing.
I think to just make it simple, maybe you swap space or swap computer.
Okay, when it comes to vacation,
Yes.
he had to get up. Then I walk over to his place, and he will
Before
come.
that, you get yourself prepared.
You mute and then go to William and do it together.
Yeah, do it together.
I have to turn off. Okay.
Kungala.
Tashi delay.
Kungala, this is Ian. I just want to make sure that both their sound system, are you happy with that? So William is going to do the opening prayers and Kim is going to do the dedication.
Right.
Yes.
So William, you want to try?
Yep. Okay. Hello. Yep. Good.
And then Kim?
Well, yeah.
Okay, can you hear me?
I'm sure
Is
there is no problem with the audio, right?
No, are you echoing? I mean, am I echoing?
Yep.
Yes, Kimla, I think you have.
Okay, let me go over to Williams and speak. Okay, I'll
Yeah,
turn
now
on
it's
my
fine.
thing.
Now it's fine, Kimla. Yeah. Anna Gregla, Tashi delay.
Tashi
I think it should
delay.
be fine now. Yeah.
I received your email, and yes,
Tibet House are just getting everyone at their end sorted out. So just bear with us for a few minutes. I'm sure we'll be online soon.
Hello, everyone. I'm sure I'm audible to all of you. Right. Well, good afternoon and Tashidile, everyone. And I would like to welcome you once again to the second day of the 3-day teaching on recognizing the mother, a song on the experience of the middle way view by Venerable Geshe Damdul, the director of Tibet House, the cultural center of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And with this, I would like to request Anala to kindly give the introduction part. Thank you, Anala. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Kungala. Welcome, everyone, for our second day of this wonderful teaching, recognising the mother. I think we'll get into this fairly much straight away, but if anyone wasn't here last night, welcome tonight. We have a few questions that have come through overnight, but if you do have any come to you during the teaching, I'm sure we'll also have time for those at the end. Again, just like to thank, of course, Geshe for his time and for giving these really profound teachings to us. I think we'll be getting into the juicy part of that tonight. And thank everyone at Tibet House for all the effort that they've done in the background to pull all of this together. And of course, for all of you for making the time, and especially our Australian and New Zealand audience who are coming together and using this as an opportunity to sort of kickstart our efforts to work as a study group in the future. So thank you, all of you, and for all the new people who have made a connection with Geshe for the first time this time. You would have had a taste of his teaching style last night, and we will continue on now. So I won't talk anymore so we can get on to the teachings, but I'll pass over to Kim and William, who will be doing our prayers, opening prayers this evening.
You've turned on the mic. Yes, here, Abhishek. Yeah, it's coming.
We'll start off with the preliminary prayer. Begin your practice by setting a proper motivations, which consists of 3 parts. While be mindful of both aspects, the objects being visualized and the manner in which you visualize it. Refuge, feel. In the space in front of you, visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, and all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and all other enlightened beings you regard with veneration. They are looking upon you with immense kindness and unconditional love, just as a mother looks upon her only child. Bodhicitta feel. Visualize seated on either side of you, your kind parents, mother on the left and father on the right. Additionally, you are accompanied by all others, dear mothers and beings, leaving none aside, and you are leading them in this practice. The purpose of the practice: to manifest the Buddha nature within you, which is the ultimate source of happiness, by removing the 2 mental obscuration, afflictive obscuration, consisting of the affliction of negative emotion, contaminated karma, and the corresponding active seed, and connective obscuration, the subtle stain, inactive latency of the affections and contaminated karma. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted view. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted view. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma To dispel all perverted view, to you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Sangye chodang soke chonam la, jang chupa du da ki kya suchi, da ge jing soke pe sonam ki, rola pangche sangye dropa so. Sangye chodang soke chonam la, jang chupa du da ki kya suchi, da ge jing soke pe sonam ki, rola pangche sangye dropa so. Sangye chodang soke chonam la, jang chupa du da ki kya suchi, da ge jing soke pe sonam ki, rola pangche sangye dropa so. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulation of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulation of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulation of the practice and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Independent origination, there's no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is free from elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattva and the Buddha, which through the knowledge of all leads hearers seeking purification to complete peace, which through the knowledge of past causes those helping migrator to achieve the aim of the world, and through the possession of which help subdue, expound a variety of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient being. The teacher, Sugata, and protector, to you I make prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of consideration and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shine forth the forever noble light rays, to you, the Buddha, I make prostration. Inspired by compassion, wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind for full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. The essence of the dependent origin mantra, we will recite, lead by Venerable Geshe Dorji.
Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashamanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha.
Meaning of the Tendril Nimpo mantra. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the Great Seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear light and non-composite. Such is the nectar-like Dharma I have discovered. Finding no one to phantom this teaching, in silence I will retire into the woods. Beyond utterance, thought, and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. It is objects of apprehension of the self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddha, 3 times I pay obeisance.
The 4 seals of Buddha's teaching. But still,
Cannot see. Cannot see.
okay, we cannot see. It's there.
No, okay, the 4 seals of the Buddha's teaching. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are the nature of suffering. All phenomena are the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of every wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all the beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teaching until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. The Buddha does not wash the negativity of beings, nor does he remove their misery by his hand. His spiritual realizations are not transformed to them. It is by teaching the truth of suchness that beings are liberated. With folded hand, I wish the Buddha of all directions to shine the lights of Dharma for all bewildered in misery pool. Instructions on the parting from the 4 attachments. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have to view. Praises to Shakyamuni Buddha. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct. Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the complete and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the chakra can, I prostrate my offering and go for refuge. When, O supreme amongst humans, you were born on this earth, you pace out 7 strides, then say, I'm supreme in this world. To you, who were wise then, I prostrate. With pure bodies formed supremely pure, with ocean like a golden mountain, flame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme sign, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Thus free like you, the 3 worlds are not. Incomparable wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the few of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the Tathagata I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtues that free one from the lower realm, the one's path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dharma that pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also shown the path to liberation, the holy few qualified with realization, who are devoted to the moral precept, to you the Sangha I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous action. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a frame of lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditions, such things as such. To this merit, may sentient being attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the four of fault, and be delivered from samsara ocean, perturbed by the wave of aging, sickness, and death.
Sutra. Next one is Heart Sutra. Wait for him to have the screen.
William La?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, there was a technical issue. I'll do the screen sharing once again. We'll do the Heart Sutra mantra. Right?
Okay.
Do you want me to? Do you want to?
Which one? Just 7 times.
Page, no, page 31. Oh, yeah. Mantra. The whole thing.
Oh,
Page 31.
okay.
William La?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, yep.
Keshla will take over now.
Manoj, do you want?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Anala, thank you. And William, thank you. And Kim Louis, thank you so much. We'll recite the Harsud mantra together 3 times. Teata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha. Okay, now we'll do 5 minutes breathing meditation. And for those who are new meaning those who are not familiar with the meditation, most of you, I see that you are from the Nalanda courses and other courses. But if you are new, then for the meditation, what is important is that of the 4 points to keep in mind: 1, the body posture; number 2, the focal point; number 3, identifying the errors of meditation; number 4, applying the remedies to overcome the errors. Of the 4 points, number 3 and number 4, these two are extremely important. Number 3, identifying the errors of meditation. What mistakes can we make when we meditate? Our mind tends to either fall into inactivity of the mind, which is mental laxity, or overactivity of the mind, which is mental excitement. Should any of these two things happen, apply the remedies twofold: introspection and mindfulness. And if you don't apply the remedies, if you just let your mind flow in the two errors, it's really not good. It's very harmful in the long run. So make sure that if you do meditation, make sure that these two errors are remedied with the help of the two remedies. Okay, so 5 minutes, ready? Okay, thank you. No. Okay. Now we will take the aspirational bodhisattva vow, which is so precious. And believe it or not, yes, of course, those who are doing the Nalanda Master's course, and then the others who are to take the Nalanda Diploma course later, soon to be commenced in the month of October. We will learn how taking the aspiration bodhisattva, how important it is to take the aspiration bodhisattva vow. This is activating your potential insight to feel this fearlessness and infinite happiness by way of expanding your heart, expanding your compassion. And otherwise, generally speaking, people have a very naive feeling that compassion is something religious concept, and it has nothing to do with us. If you are very compassionate, you are weak. This is what many people feel. This is totally wrong. And perhaps they fail to distinguish between what is compassion in general and a skillful compassion. A skillful compassion is compassion where you feel this compassion and you reap the maximum benefit of the fearlessness and infinite happiness. At the same time, it does not sound as weak in ways that the people cannot take advantage of your compassion. Whereas oftentimes, when we are compassionate, people tend to take advantage of your compassion, seeing that you are weak. They don't see the strength of your compassion. They see that you are as weak. In reality, compassion is the strength. It's not a weakness. At the same time, we should be able to prove that it is your strength, not a weakness, through seeing this, letting others see this compassion in the light of skillful compassion. Okay, for that matter, let us mentally invoke the spirit, the heightened state of the compassionate mind is the bodhicitta. Compassion and bodhicitta, these two are different. Compassion is the ground, and compassionate mind. Bodhicitta is a compassionate mind. It is not compassion. Compassion is a mental factor, a separate mental factor, the mental state, which is only one side, that may beings be freed from suffering. Then the next level, who will take the responsibility? I will take the responsibility. That is the next level of the compassion, which is altruism. And then how will you do that? By myself becoming a Buddha. That is bodhicitta. So the bodhicitta, the ground is compassion. Therefore, we call it compassionate bodhicitta, or the compassionate mind of awakening, the awakening. Okay. So mentally let us invoke the spirit, may I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. And verbally as well, we'll say this 3 times together. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. We'll recite the following verses together with the meanings reflected. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge and turn enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Sangha. I generate the mind of bodhicitta to resolutely accomplish the aims of others, myself. Having generated the mind of supreme enlightenment, I invite all sentient beings to be my guests. and shall engage in the delightful and excellent practices of full enlightenment, may I become Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge and turn enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Supreme Sangha. I generate the mind of Bodhicitta to resolutely accomplish the aims of others, myself. Having generated the mind of supreme enlightenment, I invite all sentient beings to be my guests, and shall engage in the delightful and excellent practices of full enlightenment. May I become Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge and turn enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Supreme Sangha. I generate the mind of Bodhicitta to resolutely accomplish the aims of others, myself. Having generated the mind of supreme enlightenment, I invite all sentient beings to be my guests, and shall engage in the delightful and excellent practices of full enlightenment. May I become Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please behave to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of Bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of Bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of Bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of Bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of Bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of Bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Okay, yesterday we were doing verse number 3. Yes, what we said was that that what we seek is we seek to get away, in simple terms, to get away from all problems and to expand our joys, happiness, and the ease of mind. These are the two aspirations which everyone, irrespective of what religion one is following, ethnicity, gender, aspirations, these are the two the common things which holds true that everybody aspires. Then next question is how to attain that, this question. So what we said is that okay, before that, how to attain it, the question is whether or not that is attainable, whether or not one can attain this sort of fearlessness and infinite happiness. And yes, we give the example of the ocean, massive ocean, when the external factors or when the factors like the wind, when they're absent, the ocean is so placid, serene, majestic, so beautiful. And yet, when the wind, external factors like the wind and the tempest, they hit the ocean, then the ocean will take a different form. So when these factors are removed, what will the ocean do? Ocean will again go back to its true nature, which is very serene, tranquil, and peaceful. So likewise, our mind, how our mind behaves as the angry or the restless, impatient, and so forth. These are all because of the factors which create turbulence on our mind. The true nature of mind is extremely beautiful. And that holds true to everyone, whether you're a believer or not, whether you're a man and woman, whether you're Buddhist or non-Buddhist, that doesn't matter. Everyone, the true nature of their mind is extremely, extremely beautiful. And in the experience of this true nature of mind, one experiences the fearlessness and infinite happiness. So if this is there as a true nature, why is not happening within us? Why don't I experience it now? Because these factors are there which disturb the state of the mind. So these factors, we call them as obstructions or obscurations, mental obscurations. And these mental obscurations, we classify them into two, gross and the subtle. And the gross one referred to as the afflictive obscurations, the presence of which blocks us from attaining fearlessness. The fearlessness, in technical terms, it is referred to as nirvana. And the subtle one, it blocks us from attaining the infinite happiness, which is technically referred to as Buddhahood. So, when I say when talk about nirvana and Buddhahood, people will they outrightly say that, oh, this is your Buddhist concept. But if you say that fearlessness and infinite happiness, everybody will say that yes, this is applicable to me. I also seek that. So, and the Buddha came not to promote Buddhism, but to give the solutions to our problems. So that is to get rid of the miseries and to let you experience infinite happiness. So this concept, getting rid of miseries completely, technically is referred to as nirvana, and the infinite happiness, technically referred to as Buddhahood. So oftentimes, my friends, when they get the chance to speak about the Buddha's teachings to other people, they will say that from Buddhist point of view, nirvana, Buddhahood, then they say the audience, you are putting off the audience. Audience feels put off. Oh, Buddhist, it is purely Buddhistic. We are not Buddhists. Whereas if you can explain the same concept, you always remember that Buddha did not come to promote a religion, but he came to give a solution to our problems. Keeping that in mind, you can communicate in a secular context. So the fearlessness and infinite happiness. So you have the potential. Don't say Buddha nature. You have the potential. You have the hidden treasure of fearlessness and infinite happiness. Okay, this is what we discussed yesterday. Then alongside how to get rid of these problems, what we said is that all these problems, somehow the Buddha identified them to be connected with ignorance. And again, we reiterated that when I say the Buddha indicated, it doesn't mean that we have to follow the Buddha blindly. The only thing is that what the Buddha taught, don't discard them, don't accept them. Just learn them and then subject them to scrutiny, subject them to analysis, and to see if it makes sense. And then you will, yes, of course. Simply because that you don't understand it at that point doesn't mean that you have to discard it. For example, quantum mechanics at the time of Newton, nobody can really understand the quantum mechanics. Then if you discard it, it's a big loss. You are discarding an extremely important concept, important treasure of the humanity, the knowledge, very important knowledge of the humanity. And so which means that the hardware, our brain, our basic framework of mind needs to be upgraded. We need to sharpen our intelligence. So within a span of 300 years after the Newton, then the people, they are more and more matured in their thinking, and the hardware of the thought process is upgraded, and finally they have Niels Bohr, Heisenberg, and so forth. They're able to come up with the next level of the concept referred to as quantum mechanics. And Albert Einstein came up with the concept of the relativity theory. So likewise, these teachings of the Buddha, when the Buddha taught that all our problems somehow they're connected with ignorance, just see, first intellectually learn them, study, wisdom derived through learning, and then put them to reflection, analysis, wisdom derived through analysis or reflection. Then the conviction that you gain, that's very true. What the Buddha said is absolutely true. When you get this conviction, then you got the medicine for your problems. So take the medicine regularly so that the chronic disease of the tuberculosis or whatever will be gone rid of eventually. So this is the idea. So what is that wisdom? What is that medicine? That is a wisdom. Because the counterforce, which brings all the miseries and problems, is the ignorance. So the counterforce to counteract on the ignorance should be the wisdom, which we said yesterday. What is that wisdom? What we said is that waking up from the sleep of ignorance. In what way this waking up helps us? It helps us. What we said is that waking up helps us in ways that in the dream, seeing the dream as real, that is ignorance, and outcome is the fear. And yet, seeing the dream as real happens in the dream, not outside dream. When you wake up, what happens is that you see dream as dream. Dream as purely coming from a mind, not from the object. It's empty of object reality. It exists subjectively. The moment you discover that, that knowledge is the wisdom. And the outcome of that, the fear dissolves. And when does it happen? It happens when you get out of the dream. So this is known as waking up. Okay, so having said this, this is so important for us. Again, before I jump into this text, I'd like to share with you that all our problems, whatever, for example, your clash with the family members, or hearing a sad news about the sad news about the wars, and the sad news about now the COVID, again, the increasing in America, COVID cases, anything. So what makes you feel low, feel sad, unhappy, stress. So all these, the Shiva cause, ye dharma hetu prabhava. All these phenomena, they arise due to the respective causes. They don't arise randomly. And the discussion between Albert Einstein and Niels Bohr, one of the major, the disagreement between two of them is Niels Bohr talked about randomness in quantum physics, randomness. Whereas Albert Einstein says that there's no randomness, God does not play dice. Meaning that there's no randomness. Everything is determined by its previous causes and conditions. In other words, the world is governed by the physical law of cause and effect. This is what the Albert Einstein said. So this is a major point of the disagreement between the two brilliant physicists. So in a way, what I'm saying here is that your experiences, your sadness, your joys, all these experiences, they don't come randomly. They come by dependence on the respective causes. This is what the Buddha indicated as ye dharma hetu prabhava. All these phenomena arise from the causes. And what are the causes of my miseries? Hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat. These causes are identified by the Tathagata, by the Buddha. And how to get rid of these causes, the causes of miseries, is also taught by the great seer. Tesham chayo nirota, the cessation of these causes, evam vadi mahashramanai soha, is thus taught by the great seer. So the point is that what did the Buddha teach to stop all these causes of miseries? And the causes of miseries, they were identified. Number one, the 5 points, which Nagarjuna indicated. Ceasing with karma's afflictions is nirvana. Karma's afflictions arise from conceptualization of inappropriate attention, which in turn arises from elaboration of self-grasping ignorance, and the ignorance ceases through the wisdom of emptiness. So, keeping this in mind, the 4 causes and the one result. The result is the miseries which we dislike in the form of, for no reason, okay, in a very loose sense, we say, or sometimes for no reason, I get up and I feel so low, sad. There's a reason there. There's a causal factor there. And then he says somebody deliberately provokes you, or at workplace, the injustices, and so forth. All these things can happen. And then it makes you so disturbed, sad, angry sometimes, mentally agitated. There's always a cause. And causes, let's not forget that there are 2 kinds of causes. Okay, let us all stretch our hands out. Stretch your hands out the way I'm doing, and then do what I'm doing. Good. What happened? The sound of the clap erupted. Sound of clap erupted. What is the sound of clap? This sound of clap is the metaphor. It's just a metaphor for the miseries that we go through, any form of miseries. And these miseries, just as the sound of clap should come into being by dependence on the two hands. Likewise, all our miseries should necessarily come into being by the combination of the two factors, external factors and internal factors. So yesterday, I talked about the factors responsible for, and the responsible in the stopping us from experiencing fearlessness and infinite happiness. Factors. So now it becomes very clear. What are these factors? There are two factors: external factor and internal factor. The two, when they come together, then the miseries, unease, stress, anxiety within us invariably gets exploded. So to stop this, now let's do one thing. You just pull out your one hand, right hand, right, left, whichever you like, only one hand, and then just do what I'm doing, right? Don't hit somebody sitting next to you, right? Okay, no sound, which means that of the two factors, if any of the two factors is missing, if only one factor is left, then your sound of the misery stops. Sound of the clamp stops. So the one symbolizing external, other symbolizing internal, and you can choose whichever of the two hands you want to remove is up to you. But what we tend to do is that we always tend to see the problems the responsible for outside factors, not inside. This is what we see. And the Buddha is very clear. It's not that okay, you're following spirituality, you're following the Buddha's teaching, it's internal. No. This is not the Buddha's approach. Buddha's approach is that finally you have to stop the sound of the miseries. To stop the sound, you can get rid of either the right hand or get rid of the left hand. And it will both best. And you do whatever stops the sound of your miseries, that is your dharma. So the people of the world, even the tiny insects, animals, they're also trying to stop the factors, causes. But there are two kinds of people. One who look for the outside factors all the time, to blame the external factors, the outside factors all the time, to say that is responsible for my problem. I have the problem because of the weather, I have the problem because of this, because of my neighbor, because of that. One. And only a handful of people will look for internal factors. And how many such external factors are there to create problem on us? How many external factors are there? The innumerable external factors. So therefore, even if you say you blame external factors, there's not a problem. There's nothing wrong. But you blame it, you do something, and your miseries should stop. But the miseries never stop if you keep blaming the external factors. Because the external factors, number one, they're innumerable in number, and your lifespan is too short. And even the external factors which otherwise seem to be conducive, they can also become non-conducive. For example, like this is a problem with many of us. When you are with somebody else, you feel that, oh, I have no privacy, very complicated person, I have no privacy. When you're alone, again, you have a problem. I'm lonely. This is a problem. So when you're lonely, you crave to be with somebody. And when you have somebody, you crave to be alone. So there's no third possibility. Either you should be alone or you should be with somebody. If you're with somebody, you crave for privacy. If you're alone, you have a lot of privacy, you feel lonely. You want to be somebody else. So this is our problem. External factors, they're innumerable number, and any external factor can become the non-conducive for creating the peace within us. So the wise people will look for internal factors. What are the internal factors responsible for my miseries? Of the two, external factors, they're innumerable. Internal factors, only two. Technically, self-grasping ignorance, and self-centered attitude. And for all these gross manifest miseries, stress, anxiety, fear, and so forth, we require both self-grasping and self-centered, both. The both. When the self-grasping is there without the self-centered, then the miseries that are created by this is very subtle, it's not gross. But when complemented by self-centered attitude, it becomes very gross. So the point is that wise people will look for the internal factors, while at the same time not neglecting the external factors. Unwise people will only look for external factors and try to get into the external factors, which we are very, very unsuccessful. So the point is that finally it doesn't matter external, internal. If you blame the external, try to remove the external, then you are not a spiritual person. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be a spiritual person in the first place. Your job, your journey of life is not to be spiritual. Your journey of life is to get rid of your miseries and to experience the infinite happiness. Then the spirituality becomes sense. It makes sense to us. So this journey, which makes us to go towards fearlessness, is because of getting rid of the ignorance. This journey of looking for infinite happiness is because of practice of compassion. So compassion and the wisdom, this becomes your spirituality for the wise people. But for the unwise people, again, they're going to the rituals. They're going to rituals, thinking that this ritual will help me attain attain nirvana, enlightenment. This ritual will get rid of my problems. This ritual will help me to get rid of my illness. So this is unwise approach. Wise approach is they say, okay, what is my goal? My goal, what hampers me achieving the goals? Ignorance and self-centered attitude. And what will the countermeasure to this ignorance is the wisdom. And what's the countermeasure for the self-centered attitude? The compassion, universal compassion. So these two then become your spirituality. Okay. So with this in mind, our focus here, whereas with the wisdom, and of course the wisdom, compassion, these two should go together. For your, not for spirituality, for your well-being, for you to get rid of your miseries and to expand your happiness. These two things are to be done. So these two are like the two wings of the bird to cross the ocean of miseries. They may repeat it. The compassion and the wisdom. More technically, universal compassion, not just compassion in general. Universal compassion, or universal skillful compassion, and the wisdom to see the ultimate reality. These two are the wings of the bird for you to cross the ocean of miseries to the ultimate happiness. Okay, so these two should go hand in hand. And for the compassion part, universal compassion part, there is a whole genre of teachings on this, how to cultivate this universal compassion. And this is not something that, oh, I should be compassionate. It'll never happen. It has to be cultivated. It has there are systems to cultivate it. There are two, broadly speaking, there are two methods to cultivate this universal compassion. And the moment you start feeling this, the moment you start feeling the universal compassion, you start to feel the expansiveness of your heart. And you start to feel the expansiveness of the joy, a very deep joy coming from within. And with the wisdom of emptiness, you start to feel the fearlessness. This is amazing, so precious. Okay, so with this, yesterday we were talking about what is that wisdom? The wisdom to know that dream is dream. Wisdom to know that the dream is empty of objective reality. So one common thing that I say, the example that I give is that, let's say that this flower is lying next to anagreg. This flower is lying next to anagreg, and then I rush and pick this flower and said that this is my flower, right? So Anna will be all right. But if I say that, Anna, this is not your flower, right? She'll be offended. If I say that, this is my flower, it's okay, this is nice. Actually, this my flower is another way of saying it's not your flower. It's not your flower means it's very offensive. It's very direct. But if I say it's my flower, it's nice way of saying it's not your flower. So likewise, when we say that the dream is empty of objective reality, is another way of saying the dream is subjectively real. Let me repeat it. When I say the dream is empty of objective reality, this is another way of saying the dream is subjectively real. It's not objective. It's empty of being objective. It is subjective. If it does not exist objectively, how does it exist? It exists subjectively. Okay. So what we said is that the dream, my question to you, all of you, is the dream is subjective or objective? Quick, raise hands. Okay, Eleanor? Dream, subjective, objective? Subjective, thank you. And Mirage, subjective, objective, anyone? Mirage, subjective, objective. Okay, Ajikibala.
Mirage is subjective also.
Mirage is subjective, very good. Okay, for the time being, I'm not asking I'm not asking as if like you are a philosopher. Just imagine you are a normal person, or you are just simple person without any philosophical the inquiry. Okay, say dream is subjective, mirage is subjective. What about rainbow? Rainbow is subjective, objective? Anyone? Raise hand. Raise hand. Raise hand. Okay, Anna Greg.
I think it could be considered subjective or objective.
Okay, a subjective or objective? Okay, how many
I'm going to
agree
go
with?
objective.
Okay, more objective. How many agree with Anna Greg? Raise hands. Rainbow is objective, and some would say that no, it's subjective, right? Some would say no, it's objective. But with the dream, everybody will say it's subjective. What is that? The mirage, everybody says subjective. The flower in my garden, in your garden, you will say that. Those who don't have the flower in your garden, you will say it's subjective. Those who have garden and you have flower in your garden, you will say it's subjective. Right? Okay, Ajasri Anzumla, do you have a garden? You have flower in your garden? You have? Good. Okay, let's say that she has, we trust her. Right? Okay, let's say that the flower in Ajasri Anzumla's garden, the flower in Ajasri garden is objective, subjective. I'm not expecting you to be a philosopher. Just give me an answer. Flower in Ajasri Anzumla's garden. Objective?
I would say objective, Geshe, yes.
Objective. Okay, how many agree with Ajasri Anzumla's hands? Okay, good. Good. Okay, the flower in your garden. I'm not asking Ajasri Anzumla, in each one of you, in your garden, in your beautiful garden, right? In your 100 acres garden. The flower in your 100 acres garden, right, is objective or subjective? Yenla?
According to Prasangika, it's subjective.
No, not according to Prasangika, according to our
According to me, it's
non-philosopher.
objective.
Okay, you have 100-acre land.
No, I don't have.
So listen, forget about Prasangika. You can't even answer from common people, but you did not hear my question well. So what is that? Is that the beautiful flower in your 100-acre land garden, right? Is objective or subjective?
Subjective.
Okay, that's subjective. Good. Okay, good. Okay, How many of you would say it's objective? Raise hands. Then we'll know who has 100 acres land. No one. Okay, Jeffreyla, Dorila, it's subjective. Jeffreyla,
Subjective
Dorila,
Geshe-la.
it's
Subjective
not
Geshe-la.
objective. Okay.
We don't have
It's
100
subject-
acre, no 100-acre garden here.
Okay. Okay, now
Small
let's
piece.
say, a flower in your garden. Flower in your garden, each one of you, flower in your garden is objective. Raise hands. Okay, flower in your garden is in your place. Some people may not even have a garden. Like myself. Say a flower in your place. A flower in your place is subjective. Raise hands. Don't think that you're prasangika, don't think you're a philosopher. Okay, which means that they, like myself, I don't have a flower at all. So it's purely subjective, like Tanja, right? Tanja, you don't have a flower. Tanja's not a flower person.
I have flowers.
You have flowers. So that's objective, not subjective.
No, they're subjective.
Okay, because you are prasangika.
No, because
Okay.
I see them this way and someone else sees them the other way.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I like these flowers, someone else like these flowers, and even if we're same flower, we still, can argue if it's white or cream or, a little bit rose.
But both of you agree that the flower is white. Both of you agree that the white flower is white flower.
Sometimes we can't agree. Sometimes we think, I think that it's white and someone else thinks that it's
So
cream.
even the white flower you see as green.
Cream color, like not
Cream.
white, off white. Yeah.
So if you see the white color as cream color, you have to go to ophthalmologist.
No, not me, but someone else might have, or maybe they need.
So
to
you
go
see
to-
the white as white.
I see the white as white, but maybe.
So
someone
for
else-
you it's objective.
Mm,
For you it's objective.
No, it's not.
But you see the white is white. So if you ever you see the white
My
as
white.
if ever you see the white as the cream.
It's my
Color?
white. It's my white. It's not anyone
Okay,
else's.
not white. White as not white, then go to ophthalmologist.
Okay.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that subjective objective, this is so important. So what is subjective? The dream is subjective. But when you see the dream as objective, that is ignorance. How many agree with me? Raise hands. While the dream is subjective, if you see it as objective, it is ignorance. Very good. When do you see the dream as objective? Anyone? Anyone? When do you see dream as objective? Okay. Chulakama Fizola.
When you're dreaming, Geshe-la.
How many agree with Chulakama Karamalam? Raise hands. When we're dreaming, when we dream, we see dream as real objective. Okay. So that is ignorance. Very good. And the outcome is the fear, loss of freedom happens. This is what we discussed yesterday. Now, seeing the dream as subjective equals to seeing the dream as empty of objective. How many agree with me? Let me repeat it. Seeing the dream as subjective, this equals to seeing the dream as empty of objective reality. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Good. So from this, what we say is that the dream is empty of objective reality. And the dream empty of objective reality versus dream being objectively real, these two are the opposite nature of the dream. Which of the two is the reality of the dream? Anyone? Anyone? Cynthia. Okay, first, before Cynthia gives us the answer, let me make the question clear.
No.
The question is, all of us, this question becomes a little technical. And we need to learn. We need to give chance to our brain. We need to give chance to our mind to learn how to apprehend, how to comprehend the concepts in complex forms. When it presented in the complex forms, what I said is that the dream being empty of object reality versus the dream being objectively real. These two are seen by different people at different times. And of the two, which of the two is the reality of the dream? Anyone? Quick. Cynthia, you are there? Okay, anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else? Sharda? Yes, Sharda.
Objective reality.
Which challenge with reality?
Empty of objective reality is the reality.
Very good. Dream being empty of objective reality is the reality of the dream. Raise hands. Dream being empty of objective reality is the reality of the dream. Likewise, that everything is empty of objective reality is the reality, is the ultimate reality of everything. Let me repeat it. The flower being empty of objective reality is the reality of the flower. Let me repeat it. The flower being empty of objective reality, the dream being empty of objective reality is the reality of the dream. The flower being empty of objective reality is the reality of the flower. And you can extend it to all other phenomena. You can extend to everything else. So in other words, while the dream is very easy to be discerned as empty of objective reality or subjective real, but we suffer because we see, just as when we see the dream as objective real, we suffer in the dream. Whereas we see the dream as empty of objective reality, we are relieved, we are liberated from the suffering of the dream. Likewise, the suffering of samsara all revolves around the belief that things exist objectively, which is ignorance. So suffering of samsara all revolves around ignorance. So how to get rid of this ignorance? To see that nothing exists objectively. The flower is empty of objective reality. I'm empty of objective reality. But when you say I'm empty of objective reality, it doesn't mean that I'm empty. I do not exist. Let's not forget it. Yesterday, before we plunge into emptiness concept, we taught about two questions. First question is, do things exist? We said yes. If we say things don't exist, we fall into the extreme of nihilism. Only if your answer is affirmative to the first question, do things exist? Then you're entitled to go for the second question. Do things exist objectively? If you say yes, you fall into absolutism, extreme absolutism. So freeing yourself from two extremes is entering into the middle way. So the concept of emptiness is to be understood in the form of a middle way, not as nihilism or not as absolutism. Okay. So with this in mind, this is extremely important. I like to touch this area, and many of us here from the Nalanda courses, you already know this, but for those who are new to this, I'm going to explain this. Emptiness should not be seen as nihilistic view. Some people, in the pretext of studying philosophy, in the pretext of reading Arya Nagarjuna's text, what they say is that, oh, Nagarjuna is nihilist, is idealist. Just reading Arya Nagarjuna's philosophy for 3 days, 1 day, and you just conclude that he is nihilist, he is idealist. So this is total naivety. Look at the brilliant masters in the monastic universities, in the Tibetan monastic universities in South India, who spend 30, 40, 50 years in the study of Arya Nagarjuna. The moment they hear the name Arya Nagarjuna, they're just lost in awe and wonder and reverence to see the profundity of the depth of his philosophy. And some people, on the other hand, just read Aristotle philosophy one day or 1 hour and say he's the idealist. This is, and they bad on you. They are very unfortunate that you deprive yourself of just seeing the wonder of the incredible landscape of emptiness as taught by Nagarjuna, how he interpreted the Buddha's own teachings. Okay. So with this in mind, number one, emptiness is not to be understood as nothingness. It should be understood as the dependent origination. Let me say it again. Emptiness means dependent origination. Number two, dependent origination means the middle way. Let me repeat it. Emptiness means dependent origination, and dependent origination means the middle way. So for that, we need to know the two things. One, how is it that emptiness equals dependent origination? Number one. Number two, how is it that dependent origination equals the middle way? So if I say A equals B and B equals C, then your job is to tell me, oh, I see, you mean to say A equals C. Yes. Likewise, when I said emptiness equals dependent origination, and dependent origination equals the middle way. So you should be telling me that, or do you mean to say that emptiness equals the middle way? My answer is yes. Okay, so for this, your job is to ask me, how is it that emptiness equals dependent origination, and how is it that dependent origination equals the middle way? Once I explain these two well, then your job is to conclude, draw the conclusion that, oh, emptiness is not nihilism, it is the middle way. Okay. So first, how is it that emptiness equals dependent origination? For this, we need to know 5 points. 1, emptiness. Emptiness. Number 2, emptiness is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. If I ask you, okay, where should I go? Where should I go? Where should I go to see who? What do you mean of who? Who? I don't mean to say who. Actually, it is a short form of, is WHO, short form of World Health Organization. Likewise, when I say emptiness, it is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Don't take the acronyms or the short forms as to mean it literally. So the emptiness, just as WHO, who, it is a short form of World Health Organization. Emptiness, likewise, is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Okay, number one, emptiness. Number two, emptiness is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Number two. Number three, emptiness of independent existence means nothing exists independently. Number three, nothing exists independently. Number four, nothing exists independently means everything exists by dependence. Everything exists by dependence. Number four. Number five, since everything exists by dependence, everything is dependently originated, dependently arisen. So, number one, emptiness. Number two, emptiness is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Number three, emptiness of independent existence means nothing exists independently. Number four, nothing exists independently means everything exists by dependence. Everything exists by dependence means, number five, everything exists by dependence means everything is dependently originated. Okay, so with these 5 points, we come to understand that emptiness means dependent origination. Next, how is dependent origination equal to the middle way? Dependent origination has 2 sides, dependence and origination. The first, dependence. When we see dependence, what's the opposite of dependence? Independence. So when you say dependence, it rejects independence. And independence and absolutism, these two mean the same. It is independent, it is absolute. These two mean the same. So when you say dependence, it rejects the extreme of absolutism. And second one is origination. When you say origination, that something comes into origination, something comes into existence. And what is the opposite of existence? Non-existence or nihilism. So when you say origination, it rejects nihilism, non-existence. And bringing the two together, dependence and origination together, then it rejects the two extremes, extreme of absolutism and extreme of nihilism. And rejection of the two extremes is following the middle way. So this is how dependent origination is the middle way. So now it is your job to tell me that, okay, now I understand emptiness is not nihilism, it is the middle way. But this is so important for us to know. Okay, with this in mind, the next part which I have to explain is when we say dependent origination, the Buddha, this is greatly explained, taught by the Buddha in what is known as the Rise Seedling Sutra. Rise Seedling Sutra, or in Sanskrit, Salistamba Sutra. Salistamba Sutra. In Tibetan, Salu Jangbe Do. Salu Jangbe Do. Okay. Rise Seedling Sutra. There, the Buddha taught, whosoever sees dependent origination will see the Dharma. And whosoever sees the Dharma will see the Buddha. Let me repeat it. In Rise Seedling Sutra, and for your information, this book, Tibet House publication, this book, The Blaze of Non-Dual Bodhicittas, this book, you can freely download. You can freely download, there's no copyright issue. And of course, we are not to do any business out of this book. For your own personal use, you can freely download this. No copyright issue. Although it says copyright, Tibet House, don't worry. Just freely download it for yourself. Anybody who wants to use this, they can freely download this. You don't have to buy this. But you will not find this in Amazon also. You will not find this anywhere in the shop. You can freely download this for your own use. And anybody who's interested, this is extremely a great treasure. This is a great treasure. It's extremely valuable. And there's all these, many of the sutras included here, and many of the short compositions on the based on which His Holiness the Dalai Lama gave teachings over the last 20 years. They were compiled here. So this book is a big, big treasure for all of us. Okay, Lorila, she has it. Yes. Lorila, show this once more. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yes. Okay. So in this book, you see this sutra, Saristamba Sutra or Rise Seedling Sutra, where the Buddha taught, whosoever sees dependent origination will see the Dharma, and whosoever sees the Dharma will see the Buddha. Then the Buddha went on to say, because this exists, that exists. Because this is produced, that is produced. Because of ignorance, the karma is created. Because of which the consciousness is created. Because of which the name and form is produced. And because of which the contact, the sources, the contact, the feeling, the attachment, the grasping, the becoming, then birth and aging and death, and the heap of miseries are created. And then the Buddha added, when the ignorance ceases, the karma ceases, because of which the consciousness ceases, because of which the name and form ceases, and the sense source ceases, contact, feeling, the attachment, grasping, becoming, birth, aging, death, and all the numerous heap of miseries will cease. How the miseries will stop. This is what the Buddha taught. So from there, this dependent origination, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, they classifies this dependent origination on 3 levels. On 3 levels. The first one, dependent origination of results, dependence on the causes. In other words, causal dependent origination. Causal dependent origination. Dependent origination of the results, dependence on the causes, number 1. Number 2, dependent origination of the whole's dependence on the parts. Whole, for example, the house as a whole, it depends on its parts, like the ceiling, the floor, the walls, the door, windows, pillar, the beam, and so forth. The dependent origination of the wholes depends on the parts. And then finally, dependent origination of dependence on a mere mental designation. Dependent origination of dependence on a mere mental designation. Okay. Of the three, what's the difference among the three? Let me quickly explain this based on the example, with this flower as the example. So all three levels of dependent origination, they're not contradictory. They're not contradictory. And the things, while we classify things into two, impermanent phenomena and permanent phenomena. Impermanent phenomena, they qualify all three forms of dependent origination. Impermanent phenomena qualifies any impermanent phenomena should necessarily fulfill all three levels of dependent origination. Whereas the permanent phenomena qualifies only the dependent origination number 2 and number 3, not number 1. Number 1 is applicable only to the impermanent phenomena. So let's say this flower is impermanent phenomena. It should qualify fulfill all the three levels of dependent origination. Before we go there, I'd like to take you to this understanding that why 3 levels? These 3 levels are put in this particular order. Don't alter the sequence. The 3 levels of dependent origination is put in this particular order in ways to see that the dependent origination, it becomes subtler. The understanding becomes subtler, progressively becoming subtler as we go from number 1 through to number 3. That dependent origination, understanding of dependent origination becomes subtler as we go from number 1 through to number 3. Progressively, the concept becomes subtler, which means that if you understand the first level of dependent origination, does not entail you to understand the third level. Whereas if you understand the third level of dependent origination, of course you understood the number 2 and number 1. So when we say dependent, say we talked about emptiness and dependent origination. Emptiness and the other side of which is dependent origination. That dependent origination should be understood in the context of the third level, not the first level, not the second level. Only in the third level, in the context of the third level. So the Buddha taught that whosoever sees dependent origination, first level, second level, third level well, then will see the dharma of your, say, the mental realizations. Various steps, gate, para sangate. And whosoever sees the dharma will see the Buddha, meaning that you become a Buddha, not that if you see the dharma, then you will see me, Buddha Shakyamuni. No. Buddha means not himself. He's a Buddha. You are also a Buddha. You can become a Buddha yourself. So if you see dependent origination, you see the dharma, then you will see the Buddha, meaning that you will become Buddha yourself. You'll become Buddha yourself, which means you are marked by the qualities of fearlessness and infinite happiness, or in other words, the perfection of wisdom and perfection of compassion. Okay, so with this in mind, let me now go to the flower example. Say this flower, it fulfills all the 3 levels of dependent origination. Number 1, that this flower is possible because that a seed was planted by somebody in the past as a cause, and now this flower came into existence as a result of that. How many agree with me in your sense? Somebody planted the seed before, that serves the cause along with the corporate causes, for example, like water, soil, sunflower, the sunlight, and so forth. All combined together. Now the result, the flower comes into being. So this flower is dependent origination as a result, dependence on its causes. Number 1. Number 2, this flower also fulfills the second level of dependent origination in ways that this flower is a whole, one entity as a whole. And this flower makes sense only if there are numerous petals. numerous petals, and a pistil, all these small parts. And even these petals, you see that these are made of cells. And the cells are made of chromosomes. In the first place, nucleus, cytoplasm, cell membrane. And the nucleus, you see that it consists of the chromosomes. And chromosomes are made of DNA molecules. And the DNA molecules made of the atoms. So in short, that all these trillions of atoms are required for this flower as a whole to come into existence. So all these parts, these atoms, the cells, and the mitochondria, and the petals and so forth, these as parts are required for the coming to existence of this whole, the flower as a whole. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Okay, so this flower also fulfills the second level of dependent origination. Number 3, that this flower, it comes into existence by dependence on mere mental designation. This is the third level. And if you understand this, and if you can apply this to all other phenomena, and if you are being very consistently meditated on this, then your emotions will come under control. Your anger, your stress. Even if somebody who's extremely nasty tortures you mentally, your mind will not be affected when you see that everything is dependent on mental designation, mental imputation, mental projection. There's nothing independently existent, independent of one's mind. Okay, so let's say this flower, as we all agree, that this flower is nothing but made of innumerable atoms. How many agree with me in a sense? Good. For example, say, if I ask, what is this? Most of you will say that this is a glass of water. And some chemists will say that this is H2O. And some physicists will say that this is electrons, protons, neutrons. Full of electrons, protons, neutrons. And who's correct? All are correct. All are correct. How many of you agree with me? Raise hands. All are correct. But your perception is very different. When you see this as water, it has the ability to flow. When you see this as atoms, electrons, protons, it does not have this, the wave nature. It is the particle in nature. Water has a wave nature, flow with a wave. But when it's on the atomic level, it assumes the locality, fixed locality with the particles. It behaves as particles, individual particles. And of course, when you go a little deeper, the same electron can behave as particle, as wave. But for the ordinary people like us, we see that one is in the form of water flowing, electrons not flowing, electrons assuming as the static, the localized space. Appears very different. When you're thirsty, when you see a bunch of atoms, you not feel like drinking it. When it says water, you feel like drinking it. So your emotional reaction is very different, perception is very different. Yet we said that all 3 perceptions are correct. All 3 perceptions are correct. So say, now imagine that you're looking at this object, which I call as water, through electron microscope. You're looking at this through electron microscope. Or you just see a pool of atoms. Okay. Now, where is this water? You are just seeing a pool of atoms. You are not seeing the water. Where is this water which I am seeing? Where is this? Anyone? Quick. Just speak your mind. Okay, people who are not polluted by philosophy studies. Raise hands, those who are not polluted by philosophy studies. Right? Where is this water? You earlier said that this is a glass of water. Now, when you look at it through electron microscope, you just see a bunch of pool of atoms, no water. Invariably you saw water there. Where is this water now? Anyone? Raise hands. Seems like you're all polluted by philosophy. So you're not raising hands, right? Okay. Yandi seems like not polluted by philosophy.
Inside your glass, Geshe.
Inside the
That's what you're
glass. Inside the
drinking.
glass, you see just pool of atoms. That's it. Which atom? Atom A, atom B, atom C, atom D. You seem more polluted by philosophy. Okay, anyone else? Big kid? Polluted, not polluted? You can switch very easily. Switch from polluted to not polluted very easily. Yes, Kate, they unmute?
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
quite Geshe-la, I'm quite polluted. I think I think you just drank the water.
Say it again?
You just drank the water.
No, this is not my question. What I said is that you are looking through electron microscope. You're looking through electron microscope, and continuously you are looking through, you are looking at this object through electron microscope. You're getting it? And you see just pool of atoms. You don't see water. But earlier you said that, so there's water there. Now you don't see the water. Now what happened to that water? And what I would say is that all of us, so since we don't have much time, I would suggest you to watch what is known as the powers of 10. Google search powers of 10. There are so many short videos coming up. The powers of 10, you must watch it. Because when I say that it's full of atoms, you will agree with me. But it will not have any effect on your emotional world. But the reality is that when you do see this as a pool of atoms, your emotional stir will happen. You're getting it? Emotional stir will happen. What happened to the water? You will be shocked. So Niels Bohr said, if you study quantum physics and if you're not shocked by it, you have not yet understood it. Likewise, when I say it's just pool of atoms and you're still smiling, it's water, you're still smiling, which means you have not understood what I'm saying. So you will get a feeling of a shock. No, I don't believe the water disappeared. Water was there, right? So this will come. Seeing is believing. So therefore, watch this video clip. The powers of 10. The powers of 10. You must watch this. And the program coordinator, Kungala, I'll request him to send it to you, to send it to Anna Greg, and Anna Greg will forward it to all of you. Or otherwise, you can directly contact Tibet House or Anna Greg, and you will get it. Okay, so you will be shocked. In fact, one time, here in this hall, one museum conservationist, expert on conservation of museum artifacts, the director of that department of America, when he visited India, I invited him to give a talk here in Tibet House. Then he showed how the conservation was done. And there was a picture, a very old picture, maybe like 1800, old picture of the 2-person, but little girl. And he said that this picture is very old and there's little damage to the eyes of in the photograph. So he has to restore this eyes. And he showed it in a very sophisticated way how the restoration is being done. And from distance, he showed on the screen here in this hall. From distance, you just see a picture of the girl. And then he zoomed through the eyes. It was the human eye. And zoomed through the layers, and the eye disappeared. And an extremely strange, uneasy feeling came in me. Feeling, where was this eye, which I earlier saw? You're getting it? So, on the seeing is believing. This is very important. Otherwise, on the purpose of this is to bring about number one, cognitive transformation, through which to bring about emotional transformation. Transformation from stressful, anxietic to a peaceful and anxiety-free mental state. This is what is expected. Okay. So with this in mind,
Geshe-la, the water is mentally imputed, you know. This is water that you're talking about.
Yes,
Thank you.
Sanjay ji, thank you so much. Is it Sanjay ji?
Yeah, yeah, Geshe-la.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you, Sanjay ji. Thank you. Yes. So where is this water? You are just seeing pool of atom. Where is the water? Objectively, you see that there's no water there. Earlier you saw it. Earlier you saw it means the water was perceived. It's a perception. Objectively it's empty, but the perception was taking place. That perception means is subjective. So the water is purely subjective, rejected by your mind. So this is known as dependent origination of dependence on your mind. Okay. Okay, how many of you think that you are younger than 50? Raise hands. You are younger than 50. Oh, you are okay, let's say you are younger than 60. Raise hands, including myself. All right. Okay, let's say. Okay, I don't mean to offend those who are plus 60 plus. One day I'll also become 60 plus, right? So all those people, when I say younger than 60, the people who raised hands, they smiled, which means they're proud. They're very happy. They're younger than 60. They fall to the younger category, right? If I say younger than 20, then you will feel sad. You fall into the old age group. You're getting it? Okay, so you said that you fall in the category of the young ones. Younger than 60. My question to you, do you agree with me that age is nothing but the age is related to your body? But people say age is nothing, is a number. No, I don't talk about this part. I'm talking very realistically. Age has something to do with your body. It has nothing to do with your mind. How many of you agree with me, raise hands? Age is to do with your body. Age of your body. Okay, good. Your body is nothing but body is made of electrons, protons, neutrons. If you agree with me, raise hands. Good. Now the next will shock. Next question should shock you. On the level of the atoms, electrons, protons, we are all same age. There's no one electron which is younger. There's no one electron which is older. All atoms, electrons, protons, they are minimum 15 billion years old. If 60 plus is old, we are all very old. All our body is minimum as old as 15 billion years old, because there's no death to the electrons, protons, neutrons. At the most, they can change to energy change to electrons, protons, the particles. That's it. And this came from minimum 15 billion years ago. What is before that? The physicists still argue. But till that point, 15 billion years ago, Big Bang, all the physicists agree. But before that, physicists disagree. Some say, no, this is beginning. Some say this is not a beginning. There's something beyond this. Okay. In other words, your age, what we see as young, old, which we invariably see, undeniably see as some as young, some as old, and so forth. So if you go deeper, age is nothing but the age of the body. Body is nothing but made of the cells. Cells are nothing made of the molecules. The molecules are made of atoms. On the atomic level, there is no atom. There is no age difference on the atomic level. Everyone is same age. It's very shocking. That's very true. It can be very disturbing to you also. It may be a little disturbing to your mind, right? They say the reality is contradictory with what we conventionally we see as young, old, and so forth. So and yet the contradiction that you're saying is not baseless. It's totally with a sound ground. That on the one hand, we cannot deny the reality that some are younger, some are older. On the other hand, on the atomic level, nobody's young, nobody's old, everybody's same age. This is also undeniable fact. You cannot dispute this. So how to compromise? How to compromise the two? How to negotiate the two? This is a very serious matter. So they say on the atomic level, you are going on the atomic level, meaning on the objective level. On the objective level, there's no age difference. But on the subjective level, there's the age difference. So what we said is everything is subjective. But subjectively, everything exists. Not that you can think of anything. that I'm old in my 50s. Oh, now everything's subject. I'm glad. So I can imagine myself as a teenager. No, you will not become teenager. Subjective, even if you think that I'm a teenager, you will not become a teenager. You are old. Right? I'm in my 50s. If you consider 50s old, I'm old. But that age is also subjective. Subjective does not mean imaginary. So imagination and subjectivity, these two are different. Imagination is a subjective, but the subjectivity does not entail the imagination. Subjectivity may not be imagination. Imagination is subjectivity, is subjective, but the subjectivity may not be imagination. Subjectivity, within that, there is an infallible cause and effect. Orderliness of the cause and effect is operating on the conventional world. So this is also subjective, but within the subjectivity, there's orderliness there. And within the subjectivity, the functionality of the world is so efficacious, it is there. So this is something which to get there is purely subjective, yet they say it does not deny, it does not define the functionality of the world. If you can bring the harmony of these two, one hand subjective, things all as subjective. Number two, that the functionality is operating undeniably. So these two things, when you see the harmony, that's the point you've understood emptiness properly. Till that point, our mind, our understanding of emptiness can be partial. Okay, so with this in mind, let us turn to the screen sharing. So these concepts are extremely important, without which this text, we cannot really go through the text. Okay, so yesterday we were doing the number 3, which reads, she here refers to the mother referring to the emptiness. Ultimately, we are the emptiness of objective existence. Now, that if somebody says that emptiness, you should be in a position to say that emptiness does not mean nothingness. Emptiness means emptiness of objective reality. It's a short form of emptiness of objective existence or emptiness of independent existence. She, emptiness, is perhaps the one that is and is not. Now look, say, when you go on the objective, when you go on the subjective level, you see that the young, old, he is young, he is young, he is not young. It's not. When you go on the objective level, there's no young, there's no old. You're getting it? Is on the conventional level, is not on the ultimate level. Or is on the subjective level, is not on the objective level. On the objective level, there is not. On the subjective level, there is. Everything operates so infallibly well on the subjective level. Is and is not. As told to me quietly by my brother, the dependent arising. So how do you know that objective things are not, subjective things are, or it is? How do you know that? I know this through dependent origination, concept of dependent origination. Because things exist in dependent form, because in dependent form, things exist. Independent of dependency, then things don't exist. When you understand dependent origination well, then you understand emptiness, which has the appearance of, which has the aspect. On the objective level, empty. On a subjective level, is. Okay. As told to me quietly by my brother, the dependent arising. The diverse subject-object duality is my mother's benign smile. Meaning that, okay, I can see the flower there. I can see the flower there is the object. And what sees that object? By mind, the subject sees the object, the subject-object duality. The subject-object duality is there. So this subject-object duality, or this object there, I see it. But when you go towards the object, on the objective level, we see that even the object is also empty objectively. So in the ultimately what is there is the emptiness is there. So emptiness is a mother, and who comes up with a smile of these subjective appearances, subject objective duality appearances. They comes in the form of the manifestation of the emptiness. They appear as this or that and so forth, but on the ultimate level, on the objective level, things are empty. There is emptiness. So all manifestations, they are the benign smile or the manifestation of the emptiness. The diverse object subject duality is my mother's benign smile. This cycle of birth and death. Say, for example, when you see that there's a beautiful apple tree growing, apple tree taking birth, or a bodhisattva is born. There's a joy there. Or a demon is born. We become sad. And Bodhisattva, they say the good things fade away, you feel sad. Bad things fade away, you are very happy. So all these things, in the ultimate sense, they are empty. On the conventional sense, they appear. The cycle of birth and death, her deceptive words, like the person, as they flower and so forth, and the activities related, like the person speaks, activity. So these are the nothing but the words, the deceptive words of the mother, meaning that emptiness is a reality, and then what manifests out of that, these are all just illusions that your mind projects. So more precisely, we call it illusion-like rather than say illusion. Number 4, oh my undeceiving mother. So the same emptiness on one side, and other one is dependent origination. One side is emptiness, other side is dependent origin. Two sides, same coin. So when you take the emptiness, dependent origination also comes along. Dependent origination picks up, then emptiness also comes along. So, oh my undeceiving mother, one side emptiness, you are undeceiving. We see that, and we see that reality, which means that we are not deceived. But you have betrayed me by seeing the dependent origination side, by seeing the functionality. The functionality, things are there as in the form of, they say they appear so real. The real, in actuality, they're empty. So subjectively seem so real. Real meanings as while they subjectively exist, but they appear as objectively real. So that is deceptive. This is a play of emptiness. So, oh my undeceiving mother, you have betrayed me by projecting these things for me to see them as objectively real. So I hope to be saved by my brother, that dependent arising. But dependence on understanding dependent origination, then I can see the reality. So my brother is going to save me. Yet it is ultimately through your kindness alone. Ultimately, it's through seeing emptiness that all my mental defilements will be removed, and the true nature of my fearlessness and infinite happiness will be manifested. Ultimately, the mother, the emptiness, understand, emptiness alone will protect me to experience, protect me so that I experience the fearlessness, protect me so that I experience the infinite happiness. Yet it is ultimately through your kindness alone, O Mother, that I can hope to be freed of miseries, freed of cognitive and affective obscurations. Number 5, if subject-object duality as they seem to be, then not even the Buddhas of all 3 times can save us. So yesterday what we said was that the remote control, who likes to keep the remote control? You, or you want to give it to your little brother who always watches the cartoon? Oh no, I will keep the remote control myself. Why? I don't want to lose my freedom. So if there is subject-object duality is there, this is object, this is subject, and if the objects, they exist as truly as they appear, then you cannot be liberated, because we are constantly being affected by the external factors. Whereas when you see that even the external factors, they're nothing but a projection of my own mind. So finally, it's my mind which radiates in the form of the functionality of the world. Then you see that the remote control is in your hand. So that is the final liberation. If that is not there, then even the Buddhas of 3 times cannot help you. If subject-object duality is as they seem to be, as intrinsically real, then not even the Buddhas all three times can save us. But this diversity of changes is in reality my unchanging mother's expressions. So the diversity of the things that exist around us, so diverse, you've at times the same that the saying, for example, during the COVID time, COVID-19, when the COVID first hit us and it starts spreading, and the number increases by 100,000 per day, increasing like this, you feel totally hopeless, demoralized because of seeing the massiveness of the number of the COVID increasing. How many agree with me? Raise hands. In those days, not today. Today you feel mentally, you can talk about it, and mentally you are at ease. In those days, just to hear that now today the number is increased to 200,000, right? You feel so demoralized because of the enormity of the number of the COVID cases. So enormity of the bad things happening in the world. Enormity of the lifetimes, say, to attain Buddhahood, it'll take 3 countless eons. You feel so demoralized, right? Enormous number of lifetimes. So, but if you know that even they are mental projection, you'll just feel such a freedom. Okay, in reality, my unchanging mother's but this diversity of changes, all this diversity, numerosity of things, they're nothing but the reality, unchanging mother's expressions. Hence, there is indeed a way out. Number 6, things not established objectively is the inexpressible mother. Number 6. Things not established objectively is the inexpressible mother. Meaning that what's the mother here? Emptiness. Emptiness, objectively, things are empty. Things all come but dependence on your mental projection. Is the inexpressible mother. Mutual dependency is the play of deception. Just merely this is how we should understand. Meaning that, say, the reality is empty of independent existence. But then we see that things are independent real, object real. This is the play, this is the deception of the functional world. How the functional world, they exist by dependency, but they appear as independent real. This is a deception for us. Okay, so for this, some of us, particularly new to this concept, we may feel a little lost here. What I would like to share with you is that if everything is like mental projection, then everything is like imagination. Then this nihilism. So let me give you an example which should be helpful for us in ways to understand that things are projected by my mind, but still things are there. Things are there, not objectively, but things are there, although they are projection of my own mind. Okay. How many of you have watched movie in movie theaters? Big movie theaters. Okay. So movie theaters, when you watch a movie's on the screen here. You're watching a movie on the screen. And where is the movie coming from? The movie come from where? William? Where's the movie coming from?
Inshallah, the movie comes from the behind of the screen, projected by the projector.
The movie comes from the projector and is not behind the screen, in front of the screen.
In front of the screen.
Behind the screen will happen later, after 50 years. Maybe after 50 years, it'll be with the screen, not behind the screen, with the screen, right? So like the television nowadays. So later on, maybe the movies will come on screen without the projector. At the moment, we are lucky. The projector still works. So later on, projector will become obsolete. So then this example will become obsolete. For the time being, it will be useful for the next 10, 20 years. So the movie is on the screen, but the movie is coming from the projector. Where's the projector? Projector is behind you. The movie is in front of you. The projector is behind you. So there's a space gap. There's a space gap. And don't say that movie is on the projector. Movie is on the screen, but it's not from the screen. It's from the projector. Let me repeat it. Movie is on the screen, but it's not from the screen, it's from the projector. The moment the projector stops, the movie stops. This is the indication that the movie is from the projector, it's not from the screen, but it is on the screen. We are watching the movie not on the projector, we are watching the movie on the screen. Movie is on the screen, not from the screen. So the projector is the metaphor for your mind. And what is projected, the movie, is the metaphor for all the things that we are experiencing. So your mind projects them, but they are there as objects. It's not that it's just imagination. What's the difference between, let's say, the imaginary flower and the flower? For the flower and my eyes, there is a space gap. Imaginary flower and my eyes, there is no space gap. This is the difference between imagination and the real flower. Imaginary flower and the real flower, this is the difference. So likewise, the movie and the projector, there's a space gap. So therefore, the movie is not imagination. It is real, but it is not objectively real. Objectively meaning that the movie is coming from the projector, from the screen. No, it's coming from the projector. Okay, this is what we need to remember. So with this in mind, I'll stop here. So tomorrow, yes, of course, tomorrow it'll be, we have to go through the text more rather than the intro. The intro part, if you do come across people who want to join now, missing the first two classes, I would suggest them to watch the first two classes. Yesterday into this class, and then tomorrow we'll go through the text straight away. Okay, so there are three questions which I received through Anna Gregg. The questions are from Kerry Whitlock, Cynthia, Karina, and Bilan. Let me quickly do these three, respond to these three questions. Okay, screen sharing. There are three questions. So given that tomorrow is going to be the last day, as Anna Gregg already announced, if you have questions, better to write them down and send them to Anna Gregg. Screen share question line. Okay, the first question is from Kerry Whitlock. The question is, my question is in regard to verse 3 of the text. Brother refers to dependent origination, mother refers to emptiness, father refers to the conventional object. Please explain father as referring to the conventional object. So that's simple. Let's say what the example that we gave is, let's say the flower. Okay, the flower as the object that we can see. That is the metaphor. That is the metaphor used for this is the father. See, if I'm too attached to the flower, and I want to cut down on the attachment to the flower, I try to see the emptiness of the flower, to see that the flower is not object real. It is like a dream coming from my subject rather than from the object, is empty of object reality. So for that matter, I say the object first I have to see this, I have to see this object. So this is like seeing the father. Then by the reasoning of dependent origination, it depends on the causes, it depends on the paths, it depends on the mental imputation. Oh yes, that's true. On the atomic level, there's no flower. Where I earlier saw the flower is not really there. So where was that flower coming from? It's purely coming from the projected like my own mind. That is the third level of dependent origination. From there you can see that if it's coming from your mind, from the object, where's the flower? From the object is empty. Objective emptiness. So that is a mother. Understanding the flower is seeing the flower, seeing the father, and using the understanding dependent origination is using the brother as the means, and then seeing emptiness of the flower is seeing the mother. And more, there's still more will come tomorrow as we read the text. Second question is, Cynthia, when someone throws a punch at you, it is real. But where is the dream-like aspect of it? Is it your narrative of what's going on and or something else? Okay, so this question is in line with my personal experience when I was 20, 21 years old, with my teacher, Venerable Geshe, Venerable Genam Rinpoche, and I was in IBD, and my teacher wanted me to translate for his students, American students, and he was in the Hermitage, and I had to run there. I had to run so fast because the time that he gave, and then the time that I had to leave from the institute. We had the morning prayers, group morning prayers. So I have to wait till I finish that. And the gap between the completion of the prayer and having to reach there, the gap was too short, but the distance would minimum take you 1 hour. So I had to really run. So since I have to do this so often, I just imagine I learn everything is mental imputation. If that is the case, then why don't I mentally think that I reach the Hermitage, and the people who in the Hermitage who wants to do some little bit of shopping in the shop, in their town, they imagine they're in their town, we swap. But it never happens. This was my question that came to me. So this is very similar to the question which Cindy asked. When someone throws a punch at you, is it real? Okay. So there's a reality there. Reality meaning that there's no objective reality, but infallible dependent origination is operating. Dependent origination, which means no independent reality. Infallible. The word is infallible. The qualifier. Infallible dependent origination is operating. When the punch is there, yes, punch. What is punch? Bunch of atoms. And it says that you are hurt. Where are you hurt? My face. My face is also a bunch of atoms. On the atomic level, there's no face, there's no hand. But on the subjective level, you see a face which receives a punch and the hand which punched. So when that has happened, then the distortion happened on the face level, on the subjective level, on the conventional level. On the objective level, there's no face, there's no punch. But on the subjective level, yes, there's hand there punching, and the face there to receive the punch, and the distortion happens to the face, and that affects the nervous system, and the pain receptors at your face, they're affected, and you feel the pain. So this is how the conventionally, subjectively, the functionality is the undeniable. There's undeniable functionality there. But when you see it as objectively real, then the agitation builds up. When you see it's like a dream, agitation does not happen. Although you receive punches after punches, and you are physically made very bad shape, but mentally you are not disturbed to see that it's like illusion. So this emptiness meditation will not stop the punches, other people punching you. So this emptiness meditation will not stop the Delhi traffic, will not stop the traffic of your country, right? This emptiness meditation will help you to calm down your emotional states, and then long run will stop accumulating negative karma, because of which will stop make you experiencing new punches, to stop all the future punches through the stopping the negative karmas, and short term it will stop the agitations. All unnecessary mental agitation will be stopped immediately, and the long run, to having to involuntarily take birth in samsara, having to shed tears endlessly will be stopped. That is the purpose of wisdom of emptiness. Number 3, it says that my question is as follow-up to Nicola's question from yesterday. Geshe started his answer by positing a pure white Mount Kailash that is then seen by a young boy with good eyes and an older person with poor eyesight. By implication, the two perspectives are like our projections, whereas the pure white Mount Kailash is not through our projections. Hence, it sins. Even the pure white Mount Kailash is also a projection. So that was just a metaphor given. Once the metaphor is given, then you try to apply it in real sense. In real sense, even the Mount Kailash is also projection. Mount Kailash is also a bunch of, what is Mount Kailash? It's a bunch of atoms. None of the atom is snow. None of atom is rock. Mount Everest is nothing but rock and snow. That's it. But when you go to the atomic level, there's no snow, there's no rock. Where's the Mount Kailash? Even that's also mental projection. You're good. So we're done. Okay. Anna Greg, do you have some more questions? Or from those who came for the class now, you have some questions? Raise hands if you have. Okay. Seems like no one. Okay, then we will stop here and then we'll do the end direction prayer. William, you're doing the end direction prayer. Anna Greg, anything to say?
I have a question.
Yes, Anna Greg.
Just following on from the discussion we've just been having in the third level of dependent origination and how ultimately everything's a mental projection, and functionality being accounted for within that subjectivity. I guess my question in my mind always comes about why? Why is there subjectivity within the conventional realm? Like, why is that the case? As opposed to things existing just from imagination. Like, I mean, I know it is, I know it does work that way, and I don't know if the question's even relevant. Maybe it's not relevant.
Okay, this is a good question. Why the subjectivity is there? Okay, so let's say that this is a good question. And I would say that we tend to do things which are not relevant, which are not beneficial to us. Say from like constantly going after addictions to our infatuations for cheesecakes and so forth. And then in the end, then you become fat, then you complain. And again, when the cheesecake comes, again you eat. All these, let's say, the unnecessary things we repeat. So why we are doing that? This is because of the imprints, mental tendencies. Mental tendencies. So how to stop these mental tendencies? These mental tendencies makes you to operate. Say, we operate, in other words, we engage in activities out of two reasons. One, on the basis of sound reasons. One other on the basis of impulse. Impulse. One is through sound reason. Okay. Some people, very kind people, some people say that, okay, I stopped taking coffee, and the money that I save from taking coffee, I offer to some orphanages or some hospices. That's amazing. So this is not doing out of impulse. It's doing out of a sound reason, out of the beneficial sound reason. That's amazing. Where some people say they go into like coffee, cheesecake, meat, non-veg, alcohol, and then in worst case, many worse things are there. So we continue to think we are like trapped in a chain of doing these things. So temporary relief, and you think, okay, now I'll did this last time, then I'll not do it. And again, you meet with the stimulus, again, you are trapped there. So this is a vicious cycle. So why this happening? Why this not happening to some other people? Why this happening to some others? Because some people have less tendency. They do not really build these tendencies. Even those tendencies, they have been cut by the introducing counter forces. For those people who did not cut the tendency from the opposite forces, so they are under the sway of these tendencies. So these tendencies make us to operate, project things. The subjective input, all these things are project. For example, like saying like an ordinary simple cheesecake, right? And for some people, it just makes the mouth water. For some people, it's very boring to always eat cheesecake. For some people, what is this? It simply makes me fat, you know? You don't even touch it. For some people, it just makes the mouth water because of different tendencies. So the projections or the subjective projections are coming because of the tendencies. Then some of you may wonder, when somebody becomes a Buddha, the tendency becomes so pure. All the deluded tendencies are being gotten rid of. So what will the Buddha project? This is an amazing question. Amazing question. So in other words, a projection of things, the projection the dream stops for the Buddha. Buddha is fully awakened. Buddha is referred to as the fully awakened one. Then if that is the case, then the Buddha will not benefit all the beings. He will remain just awakened and not the... Because he's awakened, he's able to benefit all the beings freely. So that is again another point of a contemplation. Extremely important point of contemplation that is related to what is the concept of the cognitive obscuration and getting rid of the cognitive obscurations. Are you good? Any more questions? Okay, here we have, okay, first let's say Yenla, then Venerable the Venerable Tinsvissala here offline. Yes, Yenla.
Hi, Geshe-la, just respond to the answers I give to Enala just now. Just so can I say that so everything is mentally projected. So what is driven, what is causing these mental projections? Can I say that it's solely because of the karmic imprint or tendency, or is there any other factors that causing these mental projections, or is it solely driven by karmic imprint? And the other thing is that internal, external factors. They are all also because of karmic imprint tendency.
Okay. So the as I said earlier, the projection, when you project things, this is an action. This is the action of your mind. Action of mind is purely because of the tendencies. The tendencies. So we talk about, okay, external, internal. So on the conventional level, meaning purely on the subjective level, on the conventional level, we say external, internal. These are undeniable realities. On the conventional level, on the ultimate level, external, internal doesn't make any sense. On the conventional level, external, internal, they all make sense. And now when we talk about the projection, mental projection, we are bringing the two information, subjective and objective. Objectively, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Objectively is empty. So then how do things come in? Is purely subjective. Subjective means purely subjective of the projection of one's mind. If that's the case, then what makes the projection happen? What makes the projection happen? So say, for example, the projection of person A. What makes the person A project things? Because of the tendencies. What kind of tendencies? The gross tendencies like self-grasping, ignorance, attachment, anger, jealousy, so forth, and subtle tendencies like cognitive obscurations. So these are responsible for making one to project things. Good? Okay, Venerable Tinsvissala.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Geshe-la, this is really the opposite question to Anna Gregg's, and maybe it's not appropriate here. But from a Prasangika point of view, what is the importance of the basis of designation? Why do we always start from conventional reality? Then we have to do conventional analysis. We think of it at that level. Then we go towards ultimate reality using ultimate analysis. What if just hypothetically we started from ultimate reality and ultimate analysis? What is the need for having the particular basis of designation of every single thing?
Reality.
So Geshe-la, just that I understand that Buddha's teachings is for getting us out of our miseries, right? So we are facing suffering in conventional reality.
Okay, online people, can you hear this?
Can you
Can you
get
hear the
Yes.
question? Very good, very good. I'm glad. I don't have to repeat all these long questions.
So Geshe, really the point of the different bases of designation to understand emptiness. If we go the reverse way, just I want to get that. I understand why they cannot be the same. You know, the conventional reality, ultimate reality, the basis of designation and what is designated cannot be the same.
So what's the question?
So the question is that, say we were starting from thinking about emptiness and ultimate analysis.
Okay, let's say emptiness of flower.
If it were possible to think of it without in the context of a particular basis of designation, Geshe-la, can we think of emptiness
Then
without?
you're already into the ultimate domain.
Yes. So
In the ultimate domain, there is no basis of designation.
exactly. So if you are starting from the ultimate domain and going towards conventional analysis.
Would you mean say that 2023 is everything is ultimate domain, no conventional domain? Then 2024, conventional domain came in. This is not like this. These are always together. You cannot start like conventional ultimate domain and then from there start the conventional domain. There's nothing like this.
But if we think about the ground of emptiness from which through dependent.
You are thinking of sequential.
Yes.
These two are not sequential. These two are always together.
Thank you, Geshe. Yes.
Okay, so the most important thing is if one is serious, if one is seriously considering to stop the tears of samsara, so the tears, and the tears are so painful, even to see the pain of somebody else in tears, even that is so painful, let alone yourself going through tears of sadness. If you really want to stop this, we have to see the emptiness concept. For the emptiness concept, we can't expect to just study for like one retreat and one book, read one book, you get it. You will not get it. Whether you like it or not, you have to study extensively. For example, like if you suffer from tuberculosis, whether you like it or not, don't expect take a paracetamol and then your headache is over. Don't expect that. For tuberculosis, whether you like it or not, if you want to get rid of the tuberculosis, you have to take the isoniazid, rifampicin, ethambutol, these antibiotics for 6 months. Every day, you have to take this. Whether you like it or not, you have to take this. If you want to get away from the tuberculosis, you have to take these 3 antibiotics. And if you don't care to take these 3, then you have to continue to suffer the tuberculosis. Nobody can help you. So likewise, the wisdom of emptiness. The journey is very beautiful. Initially, it can be little, it requires a little bit of, say, to reverse our bad habits of laziness and so forth, reverse these bad habits. And then once you get some glimpse of emptiness, then it's going to be a self-operational function inside. It becomes a self-operational system. Within you, you just feel like doing it yourself without somebody driving you into this direction. You just feel like doing it yourself on your own. Because to see the wonder of the emptiness, even a glimpse of this will give you an incredibly great joy and a fearlessness. So precious. Okay, any more questions? Okay, Kim Louis.
Geshe-la, I'm a big, we have talked about emptiness. Well, for me, it's quite a long while. I just wonder how just for, so-called protect myself from being caught up with all this so-called emotional reactivity within me. So how do we start our day? Do we start our day by thinking emptiness? Or do we start our day by, I don't know, with the Bodhicitta attitude, which works better for me than having to think emptiness?
Okay,
So
this is, I would say this is a very, very serious question. Very good question. What I would say is that let's say that start from the ground, start from where you are. If you are running if you're already, the speed of your momentum is already like 60 kilometer, start from there. Don't think of 100, the 100 kilometers per hour, right? From 60. If you are, say, the 5 kilometers per hour, start from 5 kilometers. Don't think of 60 kilometers per hour. So start, in other words, start from where you are. Be realistic. If you are somebody who is so restless, who even can't sit down for 2 minutes, right? You just sit, okay, now I need to meditate emptiness. And you say before 2 minutes, then all these thoughts come. Oh, my friends will come. My WhatsApp, my messenger, and my reel. So what is happening? All these things. Then the best is don't think about emptiness. Don't think about bodhicitta. First, learn how to sit for 5 minutes. That is the practicality. We should be very realistic. Train in that to learn how to sit for 5 minutes. If you can sit for 5 minutes, this is a great success. Don't think of bodhicitta, no emptiness, nothing. Learn how to sit. If you don't know how to talk nicely to other people, right? If you don't know how to say good morning to somebody else, good morning to your husband, to your wife, to your children, and so forth, learn how to say good morning to make the other people happy. This is your dharma for the time being. Then you can go to the next. So what I would say for Kim Lui, for you, what I would say is that they don't start from emptiness. And I can see that your affinity is more with bodhicitta. But still what I would say is that be more realistic. If the bodhicitta, what extent is the bodhicitta is determined by how much pain that you feel of samsara. For that, start with first refuge and bodhicitta verse, and then more seriously start with the inspirational verses of Arya Nagarjuna, of Arya Maitreya, what we have in this book. And you already attended the retreats, so this book, the hard copy, should be available with you, and all the others you can have this soft copy, your own soft copy. And there you see that all these prayers, they are put in order, not the whole book. Don't be scared. It's just the first few pages. They're beginning with the refuge and bodhicitta, and then going to the four seals to realize the plight of samsara, and then the bodhicitta, seeing the plight of the samsara upon yourself, renunciation upon others, compassion. Then bodhicitta, with the bodhicitta, then how to most effectively benefit others is by waking up yourself and helping others to wake up. That is the emptiness. So renunciation, bodhicitta, and emptiness. And then alongside, to stabilize this practice, we require the shamatha meditation. And then take aspiration bodhisattva vow. This is the best thing that we can do on a daily basis. Thank you, Kim Lui. Any more questions? Any more? Okay, if not, then we'll stop here. Anna Greg, you have anything to say?
Just to say, if anyone does have questions overnight, if you can please just email them to me by 2 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, given we're all in different time zones. Yeah, we can share them with Geshe before the teachings that way, so that he can address any outstanding questions. And yes, we'll get all of those links. And I think in the email registration, everyone got the non-dual bodhicitta, but if you don't have it, then please let me or Tibet House know. And we can get those different links and resources to you. And thank you, Geshe, once again, for what is another amazing, you always have this incredible ability to tie together all these threads. I know there was a question I had, which I posed to you a little while ago, which you've managed to link into there as well. You always have this amazing ability to bring everything together and to just somehow by some magic get us through these teachings and give us everything we need. So thank you so much. And to everyone at Tibet House, of course. I think it's we're doing the dedication prayers.
Screen sharing.
Kim and William.
Yes, screen sharing.
I closed my volume already.
Right, we'll do the dedicational prayer. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful channel Z Tenzin Getso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantha Bharatu realize things as they are, also I delegate all this merit in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. Yang chúc sem cho rinpoche, ma kia pa nam kia guchi, kia pa nam pa me pa yang, gong nen gong du pe wa so. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that has arisen not diminish, but increase forevermore. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the fallen find new hope, constant happiness, and prosperity. May all who are sick and ill quickly be free from their illnesses, and may every disease in the world never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be free. May the powerless find power, and the people think of benefiting each other. By the means I have accumulated, may every single beings abandon all form of wrongdoing and perpetually engage in virtue. May they never be parted from the mind of Bodhicitta, and may they always engage in the Bodhisattva conduct. May they be cared by the Buddha and replenish the action of devils. May no living creature ever suffer, commit wrongs, or even fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled, or their mind ever be depressed. May all the pains of living creatures ripen solely upon myself, and through the might of the Bodhisattva Sangha, may all beings experience happiness. I dedicate all these virtues of virtue with the dedication praised at the best by all the Buddhas who appear in the three times, so that I may perform the noble Bodhisattva deeds. Gate ko. Taya Om Gate
Paragate Parasaragate Swaha Yata
Parasangate Buddhi Soha Tayata Om Gate Paragate Parasangate Buddhi Soha. Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you very much, and I would like to make a small announcement. As Venerable Geshe has suggested about the PDF copy of the Blaze, the non-dual Bodhicitta, which you will find in the official website of Tibet House in the resource tab. You can download it for free from there. You have you have two versions of the Blaze, which is in English and in Tibetan as well. Thank you. I request all of you to kindly offer 3 prostrations along with Venerable Geshe-la. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tibet House. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, everyone.
Mangala. Thank you, Anala. Thank you, all dear Dharma friends.
Everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Thank you, Anila. Thank you, everyone.
Geshe-la, Tibet House. Everyone, good night.
Night.
Sujana, Karinche.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Thank you, everyone.